What's up? We got The Flash, Season 3, Episode 7, Killer Frost. So this episode starts off with Savitar saying, he's Savitar, the god of speed. Well, Wally touches the Philosopher's Stone and turns into a cocoon-like thing. So, yeah, so he's like, let's go for a run. And just drags Barry and just, like, beats him up. So they're like, hey, Caitlin, you gotta use your powers. Because obviously last episode they found out Cisco forced Caitlin to reveal to everyone that she has powers. They're like, Caitlin, I forgot to mention that. I'm sorry. But they're like, Caitlin, you gotta use your powers. And Caitlin's like, no. But they're like, if you don't, Barry's gonna die. So she's like, okay. And he's like, just, and she's like, she can't see him. And he's like, just do it. And she uses her power, freezing Savitar. But he just breaks, disappearing. So yeah, so they're like, Cisco, you have like a mini stroke, which means just take some aspirin, you'll be fine. And we see a bit of Killer Frost taking control already. So yeah. So then Caitlin decides to show up at Killer Frost decides to show up at Joe's meeting with the Acolyte and say, hey Joe, Wally's fine. And he's like, he's out of that thing. But Joe immediately buys this and goes to see if Wally's out. But excuse me, Joe, what if Barry called you or said anything to say, oh hey Joe, Wally's out? Joe's just like, oh, I guess Wally's out, gotta go so Caitlin can talk to this Acolyte. I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. When, if he's like, hey, Caitlin said Wally was out of that thing, and it's like, Caitlin, I didn't see her leave, because Barry, yeah, Wally's still in the cocoon, but wouldn't have Joe, Barry would have said, if Wally got out, wouldn't have Barry called him? He just buys Caitlin's thing because they gotta get him out of the scene. So she's like, where is Alchemy? And he's like, I don't know where Alchemy is, but and yeah, so she basically kidnaps Julian, and Killer Frost kidnaps Julian, and yeah, kidnaps Julian because Julian why kidnap Julian of all characters? And so yeah, so she's like get searching, and so Barry's like, hey, and he's like, knock her out, and he's like, please knock her out before she hurts anyone. And do you know what Barry does? He just knocks Julian out, and she's like, Barry, you keep messing with everyone's life, and you keep messing everyone's life, hoping to fix everyone, and we're supposed to pick up the pieces from your mistakes. What you fix can't be put back together. And he's like, I'm sorry, I was just trying to help you. Like you help Cisco's family. You see Cisco, Dante was alive, healthy and happy until Barry created Flashpoint. He's the reason your brother is dead. Wow, Killer Frost spitting out some truth here. So, yeah. And so Cisco's pretty mad that Barry. And he's like, yeah. He's like, this is your fault, Barry. You created Flashpoint, and you're the reason why his brother is dead. And yeah, so he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. We gotta go find Caitlin. So Killer Frost. So Killer Frost breaks in. I'm calling him Killer Frost because that's basically his control right now. Killer Frost basically breaks into an Acolyte's house, and it's basically like, yeah, she used to say do no harm when she wouldn't let anyone step on a bug, because she would say do no harm. And she was like, it was just built into her DNA. And she's like, well, her DNA isn't what it used to be. And she's like, if you don't tell me where Alchemy is, I'll kill you. I'll harm you and your family. So he's like, and she's like, you can't get rid of your powers. I've seen you. Savitar showed us the future. Caitlin Snow, or should we say Killer Frost? So Cisco's like, Barry's like, hey, I'll come. He's like, you've done enough, Barry. So yeah, so Cisco's like, hey, 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 you really want alchemy to get rid of your powers? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, Caitlin, and she's like, her name is Killer Frost. And he's like, no, your name is Caitlin Snow. And she's like, can Caitlin Snow do this? And starts firing icicles at him. And he's like, Caitlin, I'm trying to help you. And then Barry's able to like stop her, and she's like, that was Cold Flash, but this is colder, and basically gives him the frost kiss. But then he's able to vibe it out of the system, and Vibe is able to hurt him. So they have her captured, and she's like, nice job, Vibe boy. She's like, you guys let me go, and I'll let you go back to your sad and miserable life. And he's like, we're not giving up on you. She's like, he did this to her. And he's like, no, we're gonna help you. And she's like, we're gonna help you. And she's like, no, she's broken, Barry. She's got you, but you got Iris. Everyone else be crapped. So, yeah, so Barry basically visits Julian, and Julian's like, Barry, you need to resign from the CCPDA. He's like, wait, what? And he's like, why? Because if you don't, I'll tell everyone about your icy little friend. And he's like, Julian, I'm not gonna. He's like, I can discard the rules and regulations, you disappearing, but your moral compass is broken. Barry Allen is not fit for law enforcement. And he's like, Julian, I'm not gonna do that. And he's like, would you like me to tell Captain Singh about your icy little friend? So he's like, so Barry's forced to quit because Julian, and he's like, Singh's telling us to quit. Why? And he's like, because I was forced to. And he's like, forced to. And he's like, Julian, he said you quit, and he keeps his mouth shut about Caitlin. And Iris is like, oh, that guy. He's like, it's not. He's right. I'm not fit to be in law enforcement. And she's like, no, he's not, Barry. You're the one. You've cared about this. You've cared about being a CSI since you got this job. You're care more about CSI than anyone. So so then we see Julian, and he wakes up. We see Julian, and he hears Salvatore's voice in his head. And Salvatore's like, Julian, prepare for my awakening. Prepare for his awakening. Become his servant again. Become alchemy. And then we see Julian showing us that Julian is really alchemy. Yes, Julian is alchemy, everybody. Julian is Dr. Alchemy. And that's a pretty good episode. That's a pretty good review. Yeah, they're able to stop Kate. They're able to get Kate. So they, Joe cut Wally out of the cocoon. It blows up, and then we see Wally, and he's all phasey, and then he just speeds out of there with yellow lightning. So yeah, so they're like, where would Wally go? He was like, he always goes to his mom's house in Keystone when he misses his mom. So they're like, hey. So they're like, hey, Caitlin, we need your help. And she's like, you wanted to talk your sense into me? And he's like, yeah, we don't need Killer Frost. We need Caitlin Snow, MD. And he's like, come on, kill him. And he's like, that's what friends do. That's what villains do. They kill their friends because nothing matters to them anymore, right? But Caitlin's unable to do it, and she returns to Killer Frost saying, we'll do it, and she returns back to being Caitlin. So, yeah. So yeah, so they would create a device that inject something into Wally that returns him back normal, and now Wally's officially a speedster. And Caitlin basically apologizes to everyone for what she says killed Frost, and everything's happy. So that was still a pretty good episode. I really enjoyed it. It was a good one. I kind of liked Julian being alchemy was kind of a surprise because it's just like he's basically just Savitar. So alchemy's basically just Savitar. That's why he has the raspy voice. That's why he sounded like this all the time when he was talking to people. Because he sounded exactly like Savitar. Savitar, the god of speed. And my Savitar voice is better than my Zoom voice. Because my Zoom voice is really cool. Yeah, that's how you do. That's how you do. That's how I do my voices. But anyway, that was it for the video, and I'll see you next time for more of The Flash. Next time we review the crossover, the first part of the crossover. But yeah. But anyway, that's it for The Flash.